As a web designer and developer, I'm often asked by my clients if there's a really easy way just to change out the text and images in Elementor on their website. I had a little look on YouTube and it didn't seem to be just something really basic that my clients would use that don't often spend time in WordPress or Elementor designing websites. So I thought I'd make one which is really simple, but we must start with looking at the role manager in Elementor. So I've got one of my clients' websites here as an example, and when you log into the WordPress dashboard, you won't see much, but it's important that we go, just as I mentioned, to Elementor on the left hand side, which is the page builder which your website's built on, and then hover over, you'll see Role Manager here. So this is important because as web designers and web devs or someone that's maintaining your website, it's very likely that we'll be assigned admin in WordPress. And you can check this on the left hand side under users and all users, but you may not be. That's not an issue because what we can do in Role Manager is we can have a little look. So if you're an editor, for example, you can see this is all of the roles which aren't admin. So you basically, on your role, which might be author, editor, whatever, you don't want this box to be ticked, which is going to say no access to editor. So, and this here under editor says access to edit content only, which is great. So the content being the images and text. Once we've done that part and we know that we can edit the content in Elementor, I'll go to all pages. So we need to know what page on your website needs changing first. So if it's just the home page, once you've logged in, so I'll go on my client's home page here. So we just go to, you can just type in that and go navigate through here like on the front end, or if it's a page which hasn't been pushed live yet, it's in a draft, you'll need to go into the pages section and you can see them all here in WordPress. Say it was the home page. So we either hit edit with Elementor here to edit the home page. That's if going through the front end. Or if we know we want to edit the home page here, we have to click edit with Elementor if the page is built in Elementor, which you'll see marked by this here in the grey text. If it's not built with Elementor, you can edit just with edit, or there may be another page builder that's used. It may be part of the theme, but that's important to know. This tutorial is just on Elementor. So both of those, whatever way you choose to click, will open the Elementor page editor. It's really quite simple for text. You hover over the text boxes and you'll see this pink border which goes around the text, which means you've selected that element. So if that was an image, again, that comes over here. But you have this structure panel in the left hand side, which is really helpful as well. If you don't see this, just hit this button here. You can see that hides and shows that panel. Okay, so we just want to double check. So if I'm clicked here, we're in the text editor, which is an element itself. And we've got two ways of changing the text. We can either type in here, or we've got this editor on the left hand side. And this works just like a normal sort of word editor will be. You can make things bold, underline, anything you want. After that's done, if the website is going live, it's just important to hit publish once those changes have been made, and then I'll push that live to the web. So you don't want to exit this page. It doesn't auto save. That's that. And then you do the same. So these buttons here, you've got the text on the button. Really quite simple. If you want to add some text, it's a little bit more complex, but this tutorial isn't really showing that. It's showing how to change things. So we're assuming that the website's been built and set up with the structure that you want. If you want to add a heading, so you need to search for a widget, an Elementor widget. So you've got headings, which are obviously, as they say, headings. Then you've got the text editor, which is more for body and paragraph text. So you either click in so this little square here is a container. So click to select there. You'll see it highlights in the structure panel. And if you click this little arrow, you can see what's inside that container. It's like all the box methods. So once you've got that container selected, go back to the Add Element Plus button, and then you can click, and as you can see, it adds an element to that box inside the container. And then once you're here, you can either drag up like that, or you can drag like this to reposition that heading. Styling's all done through here. We're not going to go into that, but just as I mentioned, so if we just type mill race there, you can see that adds that there. And then if you want to delete that, so either right click there, or let's drag the structure panel out of the way. We can right click and delete through there, or right click, delete, just like that. Similar goes, so this here is a text editor. So we know for this, we drag a text editor like that there, and then we type just as we would a heading. Okay, that covers text. For images, it can again be a little bit more complicated, because you can see that inside this container there isn't an element. But this is a great example where you can see, okay, like if this isn't an image, how do I actually change this? Because this container, to save on elements in the code, what we'll do as designers and devs is we'll apply an image to the background of a container. So with that in mind, if you're editing that container like you see, don't see there's an image in there. If you hit style, and then you'll see here you've got background. So if there's no image here but you still see a background, just double check. Sometimes there'll be an overlay, or like there might be a darker color shown over the top, so just to bear in mind that there could be something there too. And then you'll see, just as we got here in the preview window, we've got choose image here, so you can go in. You can either upload new files. It's important that they're really compressed, not massive files, because then it's going to affect the page load speeds, but also they should be WebP format, which are the new lighter next gen image formats. And a great website is bulkresizePhotos.com, which is free to use. You just choose the images here, upload them from your local machine, and then once you've done that, you can choose to convert them to WebP and download them. You can do it in bulk, so you can do loads at once. That's a fantastic free tool that I use all the time. Okay, so yeah, once those images are uploaded, they then go into the media library, and then we can select the image that we want to go as the background. Just another important note, once you've uploaded images and they're in that WebP format, is you'll see this box over here, ALT text or alt text. That is basically for people that have got screen readers, and it's for accessibility. So and also for great for SEO. So once Google bots come to your site, they can understand what the image is about without actually sort of looking at the image. So make sure that's filled out, just a description of the image. As I say, helps for accessibility and SEO. So just, yeah, brief description, and then hit select, and then that will save it in there. So as you can see, we haven't got any on those or those. We've got some here. So if I select this, you'll see that replaces that image there. If you want to go back, there is, hit the Elementor logo top left, and you've got history, and then you can revert back at any stage, or hit Control if you're on Windows and Z, or Command Z if you're using a Mac to go back. That covers when there's a container, and I'm pretty sure that's a container as well with a background. And what have we got here? Have we got container? We've got an image box there which isn't pulling through an image. We've got an image carousel here, so you can select the carousel which is pulling through images. I will just do an example. So what I'll do is put a container on this section, and then I'll drop a standard, which is going to be commonly used, an image box in there. So let's just do something random. So what you'll see is, if you've got a website, there'll be a container and an image inside it. That's very commonly used. To change that image, just select the image here, and then you've got choose image, and then you're selecting the new one, just like that, and that pulls through. And if there's something like this where the size is massive, You can either change the resolution here, which brings the size down, or you've got options under style. So then you adjust these toggles here. You give it a max width, adjust the height, and then if it's something like that, then the object fit, we don't want it to be like that, we can go for cover, and then that just means it isn't cropped. But when you're doing things like this, just make sure you check at the top here in the editor panel that it looks okay on both on tablet breakpoints. So we need to adjust that max width, and now bring the height, and then something like that. And then we've also on mobile, just make sure that looks okay too. So bring the width up, bring the height down, just adjust that, and then hit publish. So we don't want to do that. So I want to just delete the container which I've got there. Any changes that we've made, as I mentioned, just hit publish, and that pulls through live. So that pretty much covers everything we've got there. There may be dynamic images. If there's something like that, that's more complex. That's pulling data through dynamically from the WordPress database. That's probably something you might want to leave to your web dev. Things like blog posts, bits and pieces like that, or a custom post type, you might hear that term. So yeah, if you've got any questions, just drop them in the comments, and I'll get back to them as soon as I see them. So yeah, cheers.